Alright you guys, today we're going to be taking apart this Avenged Sevenfold PS4 SCUF controller. Now, the part that I had a problem with, that a lot of people have had a problem with, is getting out their security screw they place on the top right on the back of the controller, behind your L2 trigger. Um, I couldn't find a wrench bit or anything else to do, watched a couple of videos on YouTube, and everybody ended up using knives or tweezers or needle nose pliers. I could not get any of those to work. What I did have on hand was a soldering iron you can pick up for 15, 20 bucks at um, Home Depot or Lowe's, any really, you know, home improvement or, tool shop, anything like that. I'm sure you can find them cheaper. The one that I had on hand was one that I had bought for about 20 bucks. But what I did was I melted away the inside of around the screw so I could make a bigger opening so I could reach it with pliers. So what I ended up doing, I did that, and then I used just a regular pair of needle nose pliers to get the screw out. Once you're done with that, the other three are your standard Phillips screws. So we're going to go ahead, I went ahead and took out the screws before the video, so I didn't have to waste you guys' time watching me do something you already know how to do. So we're going to get into this. With this one, my brother's charging port stopped working, and I don't know if any of you have had a similar problem with your SCUFs. So rather than throwing them away or sending them in and spending the extra money to have them repaired, I'm going to show you how to do it yourself. So once you get the controller open, you're going to separate the back panel from your board. There's a little ribbon there. Unscrew these guys. I like to use a magnetic tip so you don't lose your screws. Make sure you have a magnet handy to place them on once you're done. Same reason, or a bowl. Magnet or a bowl will work just fine. So we're going to go ahead and get those out. Now once you get this off, make sure you do not lose these little guys right here on the inside of your paddles. That's your buttons for, and make sure that your paddles read. So I'm going to set those right over there by the magnets. Take off the harness, the bracket, whatever you want to call it. Holds down the light bar and your charging cable, your charging port. Take that off. Take that off. This guy will come right out. Now it is glued in to the controller, or it was. We've previously taken this apart to find out what generation controller this is, and it is going to be a Generation 3 controller. So what I did was I got online and I found the parts I needed. It's going to be a Generation 3 charging port and the ribbon that matches it. Now, I believe this is a 12 pin, maybe a 14 pin. But when you're looking up the part you need, it will tell you how many ribbons. How many pieces are on it. So what I'm going to do, since it does not have a place for me to screw this in. I'm just going to glue the bottom, and I'm going to hope that this works. Should have no problems with it. Just going to use some regular super glue. Should hold just fine in plugging and unplugging your controller. We get a nice little drop on there. I'm going to go ahead and spread it out with my screwdriver so I don't get it stuck to my finger. Now I want to get everything put back in so it can dry in the place that it needs to be. Get that put back in there. I'm going to get those screws, magnetic screwdriver, put them back in. Alright, now put our little paddle connectors back in, ones we set aside from earlier. Let's get this guy screwed back on. Now it does have very specific screw placements. You gotta make sure that's lined up, at least for the first one. I like to get the top right and the top left screwed in first. Really just get one on each side done first, just so that way it stays in place. You don't even have to tighten them all the way down, just get them kind of in and anchor them. Might make it a little easier if you have a little rubber mat or something you can put under it so it doesn't slide while you're trying to do this. I'm trying to keep both hands out of the way so you guys can kind of see what's going on. Really, we're just putting some screws back in. It's nothing really crazy you guys need to be able to see. plug this ribbon in, get this guy put back together. Before we get it all screwed back in, I want to take my cable and check, and you can really do this at any step along the way once you have your new charging port plugged back in. We're just going to check to make sure this works. As you can see, it has lit up. We're going to go ahead and put this guy back together. Put in these screws. Now what we did, just in case anything else happens with this SCUF, because I think we can all agree that they are not the best controllers. They are great for comp, and I don't know how well they're going to be for boots on the ground World War II. The advantage was definitely given for jumping and sliding while aiming. But if we're not going to be jumping and sliding for World War II, then we don't really need to worry about getting SCUFs. But depending on what game you play, I don't know if they have a lot of other advantages to other games. But our SCUF is all put back together. We opted out of putting that security screw back in just in case we have to take this apart again. I hope this video was helpful, and anybody who has a SCUF and charging ports going out, we'll do more videos coming up. Thank you.